Ever catch yourself daydreaming about the perfect date? You know, like that ideal romantic scenario that just pops into your head.
Oh yeah, totally. Sometimes it's a specific memory, sometimes it's just like a feeling or a vibe.
Yeah, exactly, like a little mental movie. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into that whole concept of the dream date.
Sounds fun.
We've got some really interesting material that digs into like what actually makes these idealized encounters so powerful.
I mean, more importantly, like, how do you actually describe yours, right? Like, how do you even put that feeling into words?
Right. Our mission, should we say, for this deep dive is to sort of distill those key elements of a dream date, figure out what they are.
And I guess try to understand what shapes those desires in the first place, right? Where do those ideas even come from?
Yeah, for sure. And also, I'm hoping we can find some, new language, new ways to actually talk about our dream dates.
Yeah, that'd be great. Be able to articulate that vision you have in your head.
Totally. And it's not just about romance, although obviously we're going to be talking about that a lot. It's also about understanding your own desires.
Like what truly resonates with you on a deeper level. And then how do you actually communicate that effectively to, well, anyone really?
Exactly. So to get us started, we've got this really comprehensive guide all about dream dates, written in English.
Cool. I'm always interested to see how different sources define this kind of thing.
Me too. And this one's really thorough. Okay, so first things first. What actually is a dream date?
Yeah, good question. Because it's obviously more than just going out for dinner.
Right, like it's not just a pleasant evening. Our material really emphasizes that it's an idealized romantic encounter. It takes things to another level.
I like that. Idealized. So there's got to be something special that elevates it.
Totally. And I think our material breaks it down really well. I'm seeing it as like a three-part recipe. You've got the backdrop, the action, and then the feeling it leaves you with.
Ooh, I like the recipe analogy. Okay, break it down for me. What's the backdrop?
Okay, so the backdrop is all about the ambiance, the mood, the setting. Like, is it a cozy candlelit dinner? A moonlit walk on the beach.
Okay, I'm getting the picture. It's like the stage for the whole experience.
Exactly. And then you've got the action, the actual events of the date. This is where the memorable stuff happens. Maybe you're trying that new restaurant everyone's talking about.
Or like taking a dance class together, something you wouldn't normally do.
Exactly. Something that creates a shared experience. And then the secret ingredient, the thing that really makes it a dream date, is that emotional resonance.
That feeling that stays with you even after the date is over.
Yes, that sense of connection, of excitement, of just feeling really good.
So it's not just about the activities, it's about how those activities make you feel, right?
Totally. And what I find fascinating is that our material really digs into how personal and cultural influences play into this whole thing.
Oh, that's so important. Like what might feel like a dream date for one person could be totally different for someone else.
Exactly. Your past relationships, the movies you watch, where you grew up, it all shapes your idea of what's romantic.
And even like cultural norms, right? Like in some cultures, a dream date might involve a big family gathering. In others, it might be about a secluded, private moment.
Totally. So it really highlights how subjective this whole thing is, while still recognizing that there are some common human desires that kind of thread through everyone's dream dates.
Yeah, like a yearning for connection, for intimacy, for something special.
Exactly. And the cool thing is our material actually identifies some of these recurring themes that pop up in a lot of people's dream date ideas.
Oh, I'm curious. What are some of the things they found?
Well, one of the big ones is this desire for a romantic atmosphere. Like, think soft lighting, elegant decor, beautiful views, things that create that special mood.
Makes sense. The setting really can set the tone.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, unsurprisingly, another common theme is the importance of genuine conversation. Those moments where you feel really seen and heard by the other person.
Like where you can truly connect on a deeper level.
Exactly. And little surprises like spontaneous gestures or unexpected adventures, those can also add a real spark.
I love those moments. The things you couldn't have planned for.
Me too. And then finally, personal touches. Like when someone remembers a small detail about you or does something that shows they really get you.
Those are the best. It shows they're paying attention and that they care.
Okay, so we've talked about what a dream date is in general, but now let's get personal.
Yeah, how do we start to define and describe our own dream dates?
Well, our material has some great advice for that. First, it suggests looking back at your own experiences. Think about past dates that really stood out to you.
Like what made those dates special? What did you genuinely enjoy?
Exactly. It's like mining your own dating history for clues about what truly resonates with you.
That's such a good point. It's not about trying to recreate the past, but about understanding what worked and why.
Right, like what needs were being met on those dates? What made you feel good?
What kind of environment made you feel comfortable and open to connecting with the other person?
Exactly. So once you've done a little bit of reflection, the next step is to let your imagination run wild.
Oh, the fun part.
Yeah. This is where you get to really visualize your ideal scenario. Think about the location, the activities, the overall vibe.
We're talking like a cozy cabin in the woods, a rooftop bar overlooking the city, a picnic in a beautiful park.
It could be anything. What are you actually doing on this date? Are you cooking together, going to a concert, exploring a museum?
And what's the energy like? Is it super high energy and fun, or more laid back and romantic?
The material even encourages you to really tune into your senses. What do you see, hear, smell, even feel in this dream date?
Engaging your senses like that really helps bring the vision to life.
Totally. And it'll make it easier to describe to someone else later on.
So what if someone's listening and they're like, okay, that sounds great, but I'm drawing a blank. Any tips for getting those creative juices flowing?
Of course. The material suggests a few brainstorming techniques. One is mind mapping.
Okay, how does that work?
You write dream date in the center of a piece of paper, and then just start branching out with any related ideas that come to mind.
So if the first thing that pops into my head is feeling relaxed, I'd write that down and then think about what kind of date would make me feel that way.
Exactly. It can help you uncover those deeper desires you might not even be consciously aware of.
I like that. What are some other techniques?
Another good one is free writing. Just set a timer for like 10 minutes and write nonstop about your dream date. Don't censor yourself, just let the words flow.
Oh, that's a good one. I bet you'd be surprised by what comes out.
Totally. And even just looking at images that evoke a romantic feeling can be helpful. Like browsing through travel magazines or looking at photography online.
That makes sense. Sometimes a visual cue can really spark an idea.
Okay, so you've got some initial ideas brewing. Now, our material gets into the nitty-gritty of describing your dream date, starting with building a solid descriptive vocabulary.
Yeah, because you need the right words to really capture the essence of your vision.
Right, exactly. And the material breaks it down into different categories of words. First, we've got adjectives, which are those descriptive words that add color and depth.
Okay, so like what kind of adjectives are we talking about?
Well, they suggest starting with words that describe the atmosphere, like is it enchanting, cozy, vibrant?
Right. Those words really set the tone for the whole experience.
And then you can move on to adjectives that describe the setting itself. Like, is it elegant, serene, picturesque?
I love those words. They really paint a picture in your mind.
And then, of course, you want words that capture the emotional tone of the date. Like, is it exhilarating, heartwarming, delightful?
Yeah, those words help convey how the date actually makes you feel.
Exactly. So you've got your adjectives to paint the picture, and then you've got verbs to bring in the action.
Oh, right. Verbs are those action words. So like, what are some examples?
Well, they suggest using verbs that describe movement. Like, are you strolling through a park, lingering over a delicious meal?
Makes sense. And verbs that express emotions.
Right.
Like, are you marveling at a beautiful view, cherishing a special moment?
Exactly. And even verbs that describe how you interact with your date. Like, are you conversing deeply, connecting on a soulful level?
Those verbs really add a layer of depth and intimacy to the description.
Totally. And then you've got nouns, which are the words for people, places, and things. These help ground your dream date in reality.
Okay, so like specific locations, right? Like a cafe, a rooftop, a seaside.
Exactly. And then nouns that capture those intangible feelings and reactions, like a smile, a whisper, a spark.
And then, more concrete elements that contribute to the ambiance, like candlelight, a soft melody, the overall atmosphere.
Right. It's all about using those nouns to build a rich and detailed picture. And then, to add even more flavor, the material suggests incorporating relevant idioms and expressions.
But I love those. They can really add a personal touch.
Yeah, for sure. They mention romantic ones, like having butterflies in your stomach or feeling swept off your feet.
Those are classics.
And then expressions of delightful surprise, like something being beyond my wildest dreams.
That's a good one. And then even just conversational phrases like, it felt like time stood still.
Perfect. So you've got the vision, you've got some of the language. Now, how do you actually structure it all if you wanted to share your dream date with someone?
Yeah, because you don't want to just ramble on and on.
Right. Right. Our material emphasizes the importance of organizing your dream date narrative. Think of it like telling a story.
So there's got to be a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Exactly. They talk about having an introduction to set the scene, a body that unfolds the experience, and a conclusion to leave a lasting impression.
Makes sense. That structure helps the listener follow along and really get invested in your story.
And the material even breaks down the body of your narrative further. You've got the beginning, which could be how you meet your date or those initial moments.
Then the unfolding experience, where you highlight the key interactions and events of the date.
And then the climax, which is that most memorable part of the date, the peak of the experience.
And finally, the conclusion, where you summarize the overall feeling and impact of the date.
Exactly. It's almost like following a classic story arc, right? You set the stage, build the tension, reach a peak, and then resolve everything.
No, I never thought of it that way, but it makes sense. It's about creating a narrative that draws the listener in.
Totally. And the material highlights some key techniques for making that narrative flow smoothly. One is using transition words like then, meanwhile, afterwards.
Those are helpful for guiding the listener through the different stages of the date.
And then there's pacing. Linger on those emotionally resonant moments and maybe speed up through the less significant parts.
Right, you want to create a sense of rhythm and variation. And of course, clarity is key. Avoid unnecessary tangents that might confuse the listener.
Now, to really make your description captivating, the material delves into techniques for vivid and engaging language. This is where you bring your dream to life for someone else.
Like using really descriptive language that paints a picture in their mind.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to do that is by using sensory details. What does it look like? Maybe you see twinkling fairy lights or a starry night sky.
What do you hear? Maybe it's the gentle lapping of waves or the soft melody of a live band.
What do you smell? Maybe it's the aroma of freshly brewed coffee or the sweet scent of flowers.
And what about touch? Maybe you feel a cool evening breeze or the softness of your date's hand.
Those sensory details really immerse the listener in the experience.
Yeah.
And even though our current material doesn't give specific examples, you can also use metaphors and similes to add color and depth to your descriptions.
Oh, right, like comparing your feelings to something familiar and evocative. That can be really powerful.
Totally. But it's also important to find that balance between detail and simplicity. You don't need to describe every single thing.
Right. Sometimes being selective and using concise, impactful language can be even more effective.
Now, to give you some concrete examples, the material actually provides 3 different dream date scenarios.
Oh, cool. I'm always a sucker for a good story.
The first one takes place in a seaside cafe. What really stood out was how the natural surroundings played a role, and then there was this unexpected moment where a sudden rain shower started.
Oh, I love those unexpected twists. It makes the date more memorable.
Totally. And the takeaway there seemed to be about appreciating those fleeting, unplanned moments and finding beauty in the unexpected.
That's a good lesson. Sometimes the best things in life are the things you can't plan for.
Exactly. The second example is a dinner in a historic city. This one highlighted the combination of engaging intellectual conversation with a spontaneous encounter with a street performer.
It sounds amazing. It's like the city itself became part of the date.
Yeah, totally. And the takeaway there was the beauty of those unplanned connections you can make, both with your date and with your surroundings.
I love that. And then the third example.
The third one is a simple evening spent under the stars. It really emphasized heartfelt conversation and a sense of quiet intimacy.
Oh, that sounds so romantic. Just being present with each other and enjoying the simple things.
Exactly. And it really drives home the point that you don't need grand gestures or extravagant settings to create a meaningful connection. Sometimes the most profound experiences are the quiet, personal ones.
That's a good reminder. We can get so caught up in trying to create these over-the-top experiences, but sometimes the best dates are the simplest ones.
Totally agree. And from each of these examples, you can glean some key insights about what makes a dream date truly special.
It's not about copying the exact scenario, but about understanding those underlying elements and feelings.
And finally, our material touches on some common pitfalls to avoid when describing your dream date.
Oh, good to know. What are some things to watch out for?
Well, one is getting carried away with excessive detail. Or conversely, not providing enough information to paint a clear picture. The advice is to focus on the moments that truly resonate.
Right. Don't get bogged down in describing every single thing. Highlight the key moments that evoke those strong feelings.
Exactly. Another pitfall is getting sidetracked with irrelevant information that doesn't actually contribute to the overall narrative.
Stay focused on the story you're trying to tell. Don't lose the listener with unnecessary tangents.
And lastly, the delivery itself matters. If you're describing your dream date in a monotone or emotionless way, it can really flatten the experience. So vary your tone and pace to bring your dream to life.
It's all about conveying that excitement and passion. Let the listener feel how much this dream date means to you.
Okay, so to wrap things up, this deep dive into the elements of a dream date has shown us that it's this intricate tapestry woven from the setting, the shared activities, and that emotional spark.
And it's all shaped by your unique personal and cultural background, which makes everyone's dream date different.
Being able to articulate that dream involves taking time for self-reflection, choosing words that capture your vision, and then structuring your narrative in a compelling way.
And don't forget about using vivid language that engages the senses. That's what really brings the experience to life.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that even though we're talking about dream dates, which can feel kind of whimsical and fantastical, understanding and expressing these desires is actually really valuable.
Yeah, because it helps you understand what you truly want in a relationship, what kind of experiences light you up.
Exactly. So here's a final thought for you to consider as you go about your day. Take some time to really let your imagination wander and fully envision your own dream date.
What does it look like? How does it feel?
And maybe think about what those desires might reveal about your deeper values and aspirations, not just in romantic relationships, but in other areas of your life as well.
Who knows? You might be surprised by what you discover.
The simple act of describing your dream date, even if it's just to yourself, can be surprisingly insightful.
It can help you clarify what truly matters to you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was fun.
Until next time.
See ya.